That's because I was on mute. Thank you. All right, I'll start over again. Sorry about that, everyone. Hold on, let me make sure that the sound is coming out the right place, and it is. Sorry about that. Thank you. What's up, Jen? Good to see you. Nice to have you on. I'm so excited for our podcast, Jen. We're going to be doing. I think it's coming out this weekend. But I'll let you know. Of course. But what I was saying before is we have a premiere going on right now on my channel. So there's about 100 people there right now. I always mistime these. I need to put a little bit more, like a 5-minute gap or something like that. And so they're going to be coming over in hopefully a few minutes, but we have to continue on without them, and they should be ported right over here afterwards shortly. But we're talking about banking in Jamaica. It's actually a clip from Throp-X 2022. And it is the panel with Amashika Lauren and, Mr. Kerry Wiggin, who is the bank manager for Scotiabank Negril, and a very real and authentic. I don't want to get into it too much because everybody's going to be coming over in a little bit, so we'll get into it when they come over. But very real and authentic conversation, and also tons and tons of great information in terms of the mortgage process, qualification, all those nitty-gritty details. And we'll talk about that a little later, but we can get to this beach view real quick. And pretty nice day. Pretty nice day, I have to say. Very, very nice Sunday. We've been getting wonderful weather. If you've been joining us the last few weeks on these Sundays, wonderful, beautiful weather on these Sundays. Can't complain about that at all. And we have an agenda talking about AI today and VR. I mentioned this earlier. I don't think my sound might have been off, actually. So as you can tell by the thumbnail, those are, I don't know if you can tell, but those are AI generated thumbnails. We're going to get into that. And I made those very easily, very quickly, literally this morning before we got on this live stream. It's kind of crazy how easy this stuff is. And we're having an AI for those who don't know, AI is artificial intelligence and VR is virtual reality. So the gentleman coming on is an expert in both. This is what he does to make his living. And he is Jamaican, working in Jamaica. And we're going to go through his story and kind of getting an understanding of his perspective and what he does for work, and get his thoughts on how this is going to affect Jamaica. And I'm very sorry, like shortly I'm going to have to repeat everything because everybody's coming over from the premiere. So I apologize in advance for having to repeat myself. But of course, please let me know where you're chiming in from, which city, which state, which country. I always love to hear this. And just looking at some of the comments here. And yeah, so Jin and Jay, she has a YouTube channel with her and her son. Amazing. They're both amazing, but Jay is amazing. As you know, Jin, I'm sure you won't disagree with me, which is her 5-year-old son, like amazing kid. And they make amazing content. And Jin moved from Toronto to Jamaica in August of 2022. And we sit down and have a conversation about her journey, why she chose to come here, and really, I would say, dare I say, riveting story and origin story, and as to why she came here and why she moved here, and also getting an understanding of what she does to support herself and her son. And great YouTube channel. So I would say check it out. Literally, it's her name right there, Jin and Jay. And I would also encourage you to subscribe to her channel as well. And she does, again, great content. amazing story as well. So that will be coming out on Saturday, all being well. All being well. So yeah, you can check out her channel. And yeah, thanks for being here, Jin. Joe is chiming in from NYC. Yeah, here it's been raining like the last 2 days there. Sorry to hear about that. Lisa's chiming in from West Palm Beach. Good to have you. Donna is in Ottawa. Hello. What's going on, Andrew? Thanks for joining. Good to see you. Green Archer said, Throp in the tropics. Are we getting a virtual Jamaica and NYC? I'm doing my best. Grant is chiming in from St. Lucie, Florida. Good to see you. Green says Jamaica does have excellent schools. Yep. Agreed. I wouldn't know from personal experience, but from what I hear and understand. Empress is checking in from the DMV. Ebony is in New York City at Washway. Yeah, I hear it's raining a lot. Fitz is chiming in from Atlanta. First time joining. Welcome. Nice to have you. Xlaw says it's cold and rainy in Boston. Oh man, that northeast weather, I guess, is no good today. Hopefully, we leave that in April as we start a new month tomorrow. Welcome says, you're good, Jin. We watch you all the time. Awesome. Pabro B says, chiming in from Markham, Ontario. Okay, and today, like I mentioned earlier, sorry if I'm repeating myself if you heard this already, we are talking about AI, and at the top of the hour, we have a guest joining us who does AI and AI as an artificial intelligence and also virtual reality. That's what he does for a living, and he's Jamaican, working here and making a living doing that, and he is going to be giving us his insights into what he does and also what I would say what he thinks like the future of AI is for Jamaica. And I think, I don't want to assume that everybody, knows about this stuff. So if you are kind of on the cutting edge, if you will, when we start talking about this, sorry if you know this stuff, but I think it's important that we kind of get a baseline understanding for everybody, and get everybody getting an understanding for everyone who may not be as exposed to kind of what's happening, which is taking over. Let's see here. And even the thumbnail that we have on this live streams, as I mentioned before, did that in a few minutes this morning. David Scott says, "Why the locks on the kids though? It's not me. Talk to the robots, right?" So, and you can, and I like even my team. I just encourage them like crazy. It's just like, man, you guys got to use this stuff like every single day. It's so important. It's I wouldn't even say it's going to change the world. It already is, and it's already changing the business models of some of the biggest and wealthiest companies in the world, like in a snap of a finger. I don't want to get into it too much right now. I'd rather save this conversation for our guest. Lisa says Chat GPT is moving fast, crazy too. I use Chat GPT every single day. Every day, I'm using some sort of AI tool. I just introduced a couple of new tools to Chad today as well. Like this stuff is moving like crazy, and like I said, we'll get into it. We'll get into it shortly at the top of the hour. Carol says, I stayed at Travelers in March and found your channel afterwards. I saw you there and wish I had chatted with you in person because we want to move to Negril. Awesome. Maybe next time, Carol, I'll be more than happy to sit down with you. But thanks for staying with us. Awesome. I appreciate that. Miss V NYC says she follows Jay, Jin and Jay, Jin's son, Jay. All right. Oh, got that one already. Northside says, was that a ganja man passing through? Sorry, didn't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. Anne Marie says, hello from Jacksonville, Florida. First time welcome, Anne Marie Knight. Good to have you. Copeland's chiming in from Florida. Ms. V is in BK. Green Orchid says, Throp, you should you should do a show on Jamaican schools. You do employ people who are products of their education offerings, and people with child wouldn't be moving there. Yeah, definitely. I'm open to that. I have a I won't say I have a lot of nonprofit stuff or education stuff on my channel, but I have a little bit through our nonprofit organization, showing the fruits of the labor of the education system here, and also we have a lot of videos coming out because we just had our graduation from NEETS, my family's nonprofit organization, the Girl Education Environment Trust, and it was yesterday, and it went phenomenally well. It was a lot of fun. I documented it, which I was very happy and proud to do. So I'll definitely be posting some pictures on the community page this week, and we will hopefully be coming out with the video in maybe 3 weeks or so. I'm backed up with content for the channel, outside the channel. So we just got to get this stuff under control. So it's going to be some time till we get that video out. But nonetheless, I will put it out, and we'll probably even watch it here on a live stream one of these days. But really awesome. And yeah, we can definitely go into the schools at some point, which we have in the past, but I don't have it on my channel. Soda Blue Cutie, chiming in from Connecticut. Good to see you. Exlor say AI is coming. It's here. There's no stopping it. Ride the wave. Totally agree. Joe says I use ChatGPT all the time. I'm in a doctoral program, and it helps me so much. I wish I had this to help me with school. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what the kids are like. It's so crazy. Imagine having like, a final paper or something like this, and I'm not saying like to plagiarize or anything like that, but just like to help your thoughts get going. And like that was always for me one of the hardest parts, is just like getting started on a paper, or sometimes even not so much now, but before for sure, like getting started on an email. But if you had something to help you get that spark to kind of help the creative process or the thought processes, and throw something that you can just bounce ideas off of. And now you do, you don't need to rely on anybody or call up a friend. What all this means for like humans as we know it, I don't know, but the fact that we do have these tools at our fingertips is like amazing. And it would be, and I feel like it's gonna like allow us, like especially like if you're in school, maybe help you get past like the foundations of certain aspects of education, and allow us to go into more nuanced aspects of it, and maybe on like at an individual level. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like this is going to be, like I said, I'm going down this path, and I didn't mean to go down this path. I really want to save this for later. But yeah, ChatGPT is definitely the truth. Kevin says ChatGPT and other AI tools are changing why I work for the better. Very powerful tools. Absolutely. Totally agree. Chris chiming in from Strong Island. Let's go. What's going on, Avon? Good to see you. T. Simmons says, love your content, man. Keep going. Thank you. I most certainly will. Avon is chiming in from the UK. Patricia says, hello, Throp and everyone. Patricia from Massachusetts. This AI stuff is getting crazy. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Emery Knights asks what the community page is. It's on, if you go to my or anybody's YouTube channel, like you'll see like different tabs, and one of them is it's called the community tab. So you got like on my channel, for example, you have home, videos, shorts, live, podcast, playlists, community. And so on the community page, you'll see it's just another way of like of me or the community to engage with one another. And that's where I put the pictures. I guess I'll put some pictures here. I don't know if it's premature, but I can put some pictures up here in a little bit. Jeff says, "Hello, AI will be a game changer, a bigger game changer than the internet and cell phones. I'm in a grill mid-May. We'll say hi if I see you." Okay, good, great to see you. Yeah, definitely. I don't think, and like this is kind of why I think it's important for us to like talk about it. I almost feel like it's going to become part of our. I know this is a channel about Jamaica and moving to Jamaica, but like it's just so disruptive, and we're just in the very beginning stages of all this. I feel like this is going to become a regular part of our discussions on Sundays. Just naturally, I think it's just naturally going to happen. And yeah, I really, me and my brother talk about this all the time. Like we're just like, man, I don't think the the general public understands like what's happening and what's going on. And my brother is way more advanced in it than I am, like code, like doing code and having the computer ChatGPT write code for him for different stuff on our website that we're advancing. Like it's what he was showing me with the conversations that he was having with this robot. I was just like, that's what really turned the page in my mind when he showed me what it spat out and the iterative process that he went through to get the code to fix a bug that he was working on for a widget for our website. And I was just like, what is going on right now? How is this even possible? And like after he showed me those screenshots, I was like hooked. I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And so like again, I've been using it every single day, and like every day I see something new and impressive and mind-boggling. Ebony X says, with any good always comes with a negative. Man is wicked. Yeah, there are going to definitely be some negatives with this. My friend works for a technology company, big technology company. I won't say which one it is, and he is like part of his mandate. One of the mandates is to shrink a part of his team by 30% using AI. I'm just like, man, this is crazy. This is so crazy that that this is happening. Yeah, even within Throp Media, I'm just like, we got to change the way we do things because there's just so many more efficient ways of doing certain elements of our business here. Hey, Bro B says, as a police officer in Ontario with hopes of spending my retirement back home, have you thought of an interview with the retired officers in the Negril area? AI is a future in policing also. Oh, interesting. Without me like extrapolating my own thoughts on that comment, how is it the future? If you can elaborate on that from your first person perspective. As far as speaking or interviewing a police officer, definitely. So we actually have plans of interviewing. We didn't not a retired police officer, but a police officer in the force to speak about just general safety and maybe even safety strategies that are being implemented within the JDF. Obviously, not anything too explicit. We don't want to give away the strategic ways and moves that the police are using, right? But just to kind of get an understanding. So that's part of one of the people that we like to be speaking with soon. I think it's a good idea to speak with a retired police officer. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Pablo, on what kind of questions you'd like to know or hear from a retired police officer. Cage Level says, you can't ignore the fact that it can become a threat to humanity, which is probably the most interesting about it. No, definitely, it's not. I don't think it can be. I think it is a threat to humanity. Um, One of the first things that I think we're going to start seeing, as an example I just gave with that technology company, is the loss of jobs. Like, it's going to happen. Like, these things are going to take away jobs at the end of the day. Like, I think that's going to be one of the first things that we see, that these machines are going to just do what some normal jobs that we've known as everyday jobs are going to take them, and going to do it much better, more efficiently, quicker, and be far cheaper. And so it's just like, there's going to be a certain element of people that are going to be able to, say, transition to other types of jobs, but I think there are going to be jobs that are going to be skill specific jobs that will be gone forever, and there will be certainly a certain percentage of the population that may not be able to be employed. I hate to be so negative, but it's just something that we have to think about. And then, to me, kind of brings back into the argument, if you will, like universal basic income, which is a concept of basically every person in a nation getting a certain stipend per month to live off of. And like, that's something that they talked about as a possibility, because like, what if you just can't work because there's no need for you as a human to work, because all you're qualified to do, all those jobs are taken over by robots. And we obviously, as a society, we can't have you linger, starve, and not be able to live and support your family. And so universal basic income is kind of coming back into the argument or discussion as it relates to the advancements of AI. And the reason why people are talking about it so much now is because the rate and speed at which this technology is advancing, it's like, it's just exponential, because it's like machine learning. And the more we use it, the more these machines learn and iterate within themselves. And this is 24/7 that it's doing this, and it's doing it on a mass level, like with millions of users. Like, it's just hard to even conceptualize in our heads how fast these things are learning. And then also, what it, again, from a conceptualization process point of view, is like, what it actually means and could turn into. And I'm not saying this from a scare, like, scare tactic or anything like that. I think I'm saying it more so from an understanding, and hopefully a level of, let's embrace this technology and keep up with it. What's up, Synthwave? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining as usual. Unapologetic says, I'm noticing a trend in the thumbnails, and guest your shooter to interview. Just saying. Not sure. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Unapologetic. Unapologetics from America. Um. Oh, it said, from America. I'm noticing a trend in your thumbnails and who you choose to interview. Just saying. Talk to me. What do you mean by that? Xlaw says two pioneering companies in the AI space besides the blue chip firms are Sprinkler Incorporated and NVIDIA Corporation. Buy a few shares and let it sit there for your kids. There you go. I know about NVIDIA. I don't know about Sprinkler. Patricia says RoboCop is going to be a reality. Maybe good if they are not able to be biased. That's another thing too. It's the programming in this stuff too. It's just like, who's programming, who's putting in this code. Are the human biases that are within us going to be also be in this technology? I could tell you. So one thing that so I'll say this. Let me see if I could put it up. Oh, I don't have the example, but I will say what I noticed is, so one of the prompts that I put in to create some of the images I had was like, one of them, like, I put like Jamaica couple and a bunch of other prompts, and then it formulated this picture, right? And then I did the same thing, but I didn't put Jamaica. Oh, so sorry. So with that prompt, it gave me a black couple, and then I did the same thing, but I didn't put Jamaica, and then it gave me a white couple. So I thought that was interesting. So it obviously it's like some sort of bias is there. I don't, and I was just like, man, that's interesting. I'll just say that's interesting. But it again, it just shows that there are biases that are just part of the makeup of the code of how this thing learns, and maybe could be expected for the future of these artificial learning machines. I am what I am. Yam says AI allows me to teach more advanced writing skills to students. No longer must I spend time teaching lower order skills like grammar and paragraph development. Right. That's what I mean. That's what I was kind of alluding to. I think that's a great example. Is you kind of are able to get away from the fundamental aspects, so to speak, and go into like these very nuanced, deep aspects of whatever subject matter that you're trying to teach or trying to learn. Programs are made by people. Human bias cannot be taken out. Yeah, there you go. T says AI already passed a bar exam, beat top chess player. There'll be very few jobs left. Yeah, I mean, hope that's not the case. That may be the case, but I hope there is a solution to this situation. And Lisa P says, I work for the largest 911 CAD company in the world. Former fire/medic went over to the IT side. Hang on to the seat of your pants. What's coming out shortly will stop us in our tracks. I believe that. Xlor, read algorithms. I mean, I'm what I am says, read algorithms of oppression and you can find out more. I've never heard of that book, but that sounds interesting. I'm just going to screenshot that. And Xlor says humans are creating AI. The human biases will necessarily be part of AI. The Gallimore says, while AI is designed to replace manual labor with a more effective and quicker way of doing work, it cannot override the need for human input in a workspace. Agreed. All right, so we're going to table the AI discussion for just about half an hour before the guest comes on, I should say, not next person. And I want to move over to the premiere that we had today, just quickly to talk about that. Sorry, just want to pull it up on my phone real quick. So we did so it was a clip from Throp-X 2022, and it was the panel was Amashika Lauren, who is the host, and then also Kerry Wiggin, who is the bank manager from Scotiabank Negril, and he talked a lot about the process of getting a mortgage. And one of the best things I think of this video is the questions that we got from the audience. And I thought it's a lot of questions that I get on here about getting a bank loan and qualifications and people. And like, I love it when people ask like very situation specific questions about whatever circumstance they're in and whatever problem they're specifically having and how to overcome it. And so there are a few of those in the discussion and in the live stream in the podcast there or the clip. I'm gonna see if I could try to grab it for you real quick and make it a little bit easier for you to hop on. So I'm putting it there in the comments, and if you haven't seen it, I would say check it out. I would definitely say if you're say wondering about like what the process is like for getting a loan. Do I need to get a loan to say buy a home here? If I have land that I want to purchase or land that I have and I want to build a home on it, getting construction loan, learning about the qualification process, and it does it in a very succinct way. And I'm not just saying it's my content. Like I wasn't even the one who was on stage talking about it or even hosting it. But Mr. Wiggin is a very obviously knowledgeable person on mortgages and the loan system in Jamaica. And again, he does a great job of breaking that all down and answering some. I guess some of them were tough questions. Asked some, these tough questions and these very specific questions, and he was very transparent and open about the process and straightforward about answering their questions. So it's a good podcast. It's a good clip from Throp-X 2022, and for those that are unaware, Throp-X is my annual Jamaica investment conference. We did it in November of 2022, and it was like really, really amazing. If you were there, and I'm not saying that because it's my event, I was like overwhelmingly not surprised, but happy with how it went, almost off without a hitch. And the speakers were absolutely phenomenal. And the idea behind it is a Jamaica investment conference. And there's a focus on, more than anything else, on real estate and also investing in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. But we also did a lot of lifestyle, like lifestyle talk, like so what it's like to live in the grill. We did a panel on a bunch of we haven't put this one out yet, but a bunch of Negril business owners, business leaders, and getting an idea of what it's like to conduct business in Negril, where Negril came from, and also the future of Negril as they saw it. And these are the types of insights that we were able to get on the conference. And then, of course, when we get over to the real estate, we got some of the most foremost real estate agents in Jamaica talking about developments that are happening in Kingston. We had Noel Phillips. He's one of the best realtors that I've ever worked with. And then we also had St. Alban Clark, who's based out here in the West in Montego Bay, and just giving us a lot of insight, almost inside information as to different projects that are coming on board, and giving the opportunity to those in attendance to learn about them and possibly even invest in them. So that was something that was pretty awesome. And then we also did which I think was one of the main things that I think people really appreciated, was we did a tour of Negril and the different real estate sites that are for sale. And we'll be doing it again in November 2023. So if you're interested, you can go to thropx.com and take a look at it. It's good event, if I may say so myself. Do have a couple articles that I want to get into. We got about 25 minutes before our guest gets on. So let me bring up our first one. I'm going to go into the comments real quick, and then we're going to go into the articles there. All right, let's catch up on these comments before we hop into the articles. Kate Lowe says, some crazy person on there will try to recreate those horror scenes from movies by creating a body for it. Pablo says, an interview recently you talked about youth programs that your organization sponsors. In the Negril area, there are retired police officers who would love to be of support. I hope to be there in June. Okay, cool. Yeah, we actually work through our nonprofit organization. We work with the Negril police station, and we actually have 2 police officers that are part of, I don't know what it's actually called, but I would put it under the umbrella of the police community outreach program. And so they were at every single one of our Saturday tablet program classes here at Travelers. And it's just so important because also a lot of kids want to be police officers as well. And so it's important to me, and also our organization, that the relationship with young people and the police force are developed at a young age, and they know and see these officers as their friends, as their allies, and also perhaps even an ambition that they may look to achieve as a grown adult, and being part of the Jamaican police force. So good idea again, Pablo. T says bots have already wreaked havoc with propaganda. Propaganda, excuse me, will need a worldwide agreement like we do for nukes. Yeah, yeah. Talking about those AI bots, not cool. Lisa says, silly question. No such thing as a silly question. What is the credit system in Jamaica, and does one have to rebuild uh, or build credit moving and purchasing in Jamaica? So we don't have. There is a credit system, but it's not a like the credit system in New York. It's not like, I'm not New York, in the US, like, that, like, I don't have an Equifax score. If I think I do, but I don't know what it is. And they have their own credit rating systems. And as Mr. Wiggin talks about in his presentation, the most important aspect of getting a loan is proving, if you will, your ability to pay. And it really, and even in my own experience, it really comes down to what is your monthly income? How can you, are you able to afford X dollars per month? And then also, they create, of course, an entire credit profile on you. What is already your debt obligations? What are your credit card obligations? Do you have other outstanding loans? And all of this is put into perspective on in terms of qualifying you as a credible lender, so to speak. And again, Mr. Wiggin, he does a really good job of going into all that detail. Hello, Miss Nisa. Thanks for joining. He says China uses AI for social credits already. I know about social credits, but I don't know a lot about social credits. Mostly, most of my experience with that is coming from Black Mirror, the show. Ms. Cole, how you doing? Thanks for joining. T says plumbers, carpenters, nursing, hands-on trades seem safe. Yeah, I would say for now, it seems like those kind of you great point. I think those kind of jobs are, in terms of them being a liability, are in the distant future. At least I like to think so. Um, Titum says AI allows us to create passive income. I agree with that. Justin says, are the dates for Throp-X confirmed for this year? Yep. November 13th to 17th. So we added another 2 days. It's going to be Monday through Friday. And yeah, you can check it out on thropx.com. And we had like one of the pieces of feedbacks that we got was like, we need a day and night. So I needed some downtime. So we have, what do I say, like scheduled socials, which I think was important. We just didn't. The only time we had a time for social was a farewell party, which was nice, but we kind of kept it almost all business, which I think people got a lot of value out of, which was the most important thing for me. But I think that the one thing and the other thing that we also recognize is that people also, we just, this wasn't part of the schedule, but we went out one night to we tried Italian cafe, then we went to Woodstock, and that was just kind of cool, like an ad hoc situation. And like us as a group went out at night in the grill, and some people hadn't been back to Jamaica in like 20 years. And perhaps in my mind, I'm thinking maybe they wouldn't have done that on their own to see what the nightlife is like in their grill, and that was an opportunity to do so. So now we've included that, like, we have a night out, so we're going to be going to a club one night and seeing what that's like, and within the the safety of the group, right? And people, I think, would appreciate that. And being safety is a top priority for everyone, as it should be. And this is a way for people and the group to kind of see what a night out in the grill is like, right? So those are two that we added, and then hasn't been confirmed, but it looks like we're going to do a private boat ride, a catamaran ride. We're trying to figure that out, but like that's the day social program social activity that we want to do. So coming along. We'll get the finalized itinerary out shortly, but this is kind of where our heads are and what we are planning. Axel says, is the creditworthiness evaluation the same for Jamaicans and foreigners? Yes, it is. That's right. Althea, hello, good af. I will say so. Excellent. Sorry, I'll get that in a second. But hi, Althea, chiming in from Queens. Excellent. The difference with Jamaicans, I would say, is, and we talked about this in, I think it was a live stream. We talked about, yeah, it was a live stream. We talked about the NHT loans and what you need to do to qualify for those. And so that's like a big advantage of, I think, of being Jamaican. And you get this very low interest loan, and even in some cases free grant money to build your first home in Jamaica or buy your first home in Jamaica, either or. So that's what I would say would be one of the bigger advantages of being Jamaican. Whether you're Jamaican living here or you're Jamaican who has Jamaican citizenship and living abroad, you are able to qualify for this. Chris, what's going on? Checking in from Panama City. Always good to see you, man. Chris Shaw says, I attended Throp-X 2022. If you are thinking of Jamaica today or a future, attend. Listen to Chris, everyone. Thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate that. Claudette, happy Sunday to you as well. G. Valentino says, in short, Jamaica's credit system is just to check your loans against your salary to ascertain how much disposable funds you may have. Said it better than I did, but essentially, yeah, that's what it comes down to when you're just talking about the nuts and bolts. Oren says, hey, sir, first time watching from Ochi. Okay, welcome. Nice to have you, Oren. I am what I am says, the Turing test is how you measure effective AI programs. Named after Alan Turing, test essentially how accurately a computer mimics the humor of a 14-year-old white boy. Interesting. Real facts. Chris says, as AI becomes more advanced, prompt engineer positions are definitely going to be jobs of the future. Yeah, that is a job. It's just like how good at you are at these prompts. Like when I was making these, I wish I could bring them up quickly, but it's going to take some time for me to convert them to JPEG. And I don't want to take away from the stream here, but how I came up with these pictures, it took me, it was an iterative process. And like the more you do it, the better you become, the better prompter that you become. Same thing with Chat GPT. Is like you just got to keep using it. And it's hard to like, I'm sure there's a way to teach it, but like the best way to do it is to learn it is to use it. And so you just become a better prompter. Even with these pictures, as I was saying before, like the pictures that I started with were good, but they're not as good as the little girls that I made that you guys are seeing. But it took me a while to just kind of iterate, and then you get to it over a few days. And so you just need to spend time with these tools, and the more you do, the more valuable you're going to become, especially like any young people watching this. Like it may seem easy to you to put these prompts, but like if you can give a company or an entrepreneur exactly what they have in their mind, or maybe something better based on your understanding of prompts and inputs, man, you're extremely valuable, extremely valuable. And you got to think about, say, somebody who's a business owner that is maybe not, and and we use this example with social media, right? Maybe somebody who's maybe closer to a retirement age and maybe not social media savvy, but I think most and many people are at this point. But when social media first came out, it was just like think about somebody who's in 2007, 8, when Facebook came out, and think about somebody who is 70 or 80 years old at that time trying to understand Facebook. I mean, I couldn't. And imagine that person is the CEO of the company, but they don't, of their own company, but it's not worth their time to go and learn Facebook and being a senior CEO or executive. And so they're going to hire a young person to do that who's fresh out of college. And like to me, it's like the same thing with this. This is like somebody in their senior year of their career or their business or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a good idea for them to learn it. But like if you're a young person and you're on the cutting edge of AI and being a prompt master, so to speak, man, you are so valuable, so valuable. And this is like, perhaps we're going to get into this with the gentleman that we have coming on in a few minutes. I don't think we're going to get to this article, by the way. It doesn't make sense because we don't have a lot of time left. But imagine like a young Jamaican person that understands Chat GPT, that understands how to use Discord and how to use the Midjourney on Discord and to generate just whether it's like sketches of an idea or of architectural design, like so many different things. It's just like you don't have to have whatever level of education. You don't have to go to school for this stuff. You just need to know how to do it, and you just create so much value for yourself. And this is what I'm thinking. Like I could go on and on about this stuff, but let's get into the next comments. Jen says, I watched a video yesterday on scammers using AI to change their face to match the profile pic they've stolen while video calling. Pretty soon you won't be able to trust your own eyes. Yeah, even the voices. I don't know if you heard this. I don't even know if I'm allowed to play it. But there was this Drake and Weeknd song that came out a couple of weeks ago, and it was so good. It was so good. It still is good. And it wasn't Drake and The Weeknd. They didn't do these songs. They didn't record these songs. But this guy named Ghostwriter wrote this song, just came up with the beats, and I don't know if it was him who sang it or whatever, but whatever the situation was, they was able to change and manipulate his voice in the song so it sounded exactly like Drake and exactly like The Weeknd, and just phenomenal. They actually had to shut it down, had millions and millions of streams. But yeah, these are one of these things that could be very very concerning, and the music industry. I don't know if they're scrambling, but definitely something that they're probably talking about every day at this point. Chris Hill says, "Yeah, I've been learning Dolly and Midjourney. I use Dolly a little bit. I want to definitely get more into Dolly, Midjourney. These are both AI tools that Chris here is talking about." Cage Level says, "A person who lives solely by the books becomes very rebellious. If this thing keeps learning that way, it will undoubtedly turn against us. That's the reality." Um, yep, it could be for sure. Tidum says, "I trade foreign exchange and I use AI to help me execute my trades on a daily basis." Wow, that's incredible. Pretty awesome. Joe says, "As an older millennial myself, I find it much better to use my time to hire a contractor and handle my social media for my nonprofit." There you go. Yep. Same here. Same here. I'm terrible at it. But I don't have somebody specific, but I do have a team. I'm lucky I do have a team, but it's better to do that way. Anybody use Adobe Firefly? No, I signed up for it because I think you need to be approved. I know I signed up for it, but didn't get on it. But we use Adobe Podcast. So even the Throp-X clips that you guys have been watching from Throp-X, originally the sound was like if you're it's like super echoey. It was going through a traditional mixer, the mics. Originally the sound was only coming out of one speaker, so we stripped the audio from the video and we put it into Adobe Podcast, and now what you're hearing, it sounds like a podcast. It took this really bad echoey sound and it turned it into podcast quality sound. AI, we didn't even do anything. Just beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, a very, very beautiful thing. He says, I used one in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It was for free for the city. I might be reading that out of context. Orange says, AI and digital assets such as crypto is the future. Got to prepare. Absolutely. Jay Fitz says, oh, yeah, the music industry is scrambling because they remember Napster. Yep. I was in the trenches on that one. Kate says, what are your views on humanity? I mean, we just got to stay on top of this stuff, right? And hopefully just use AI for the benefit of humanity. But I remember like years ago, Elon Musk was saying like the greatest threat to humanity is AI. And a lot of people were like, what is he talking about? But this is like, if you see what's happening, I'm sure everybody in here does. If you see what's happening, you can now understand. He might have said that like maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. That you definitely understand what he means by that now. Hopefully, you do at least. All right, what else we got here? All right, we don't have time to go into the articles. What I will try to do, I was like, all right, let me see if I could bring these pictures up real quick. These are the pictures that I created, some of them at least. And again, I have no like artist skills or anything like that. And from what I also understand is like one of the questions came up is like who owns this? Who owns these images? Who gets credit for them, right? And it would be me. It would be me. I saw Joe says in the community page that oh she would pay for this. I'm like, that's crazy. And I was like, I'll just send you the high resolution file, and because she wants to print it off. So I was like, I'll send it to her, which is no problem. Which is just it's just kind of cool, right? And weird, and at the same time, just like what? But they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful images. Maybe I'll just put up a quick. No, we can't do that right now. I was gonna say put up a quick commercial, and I can kind of get these things out to you. But let me see. Maybe I could do that, and I can just convert the files real quick so I can share them with you all. Let me see if we have like a 2-minute commercial that's appropriate. I don't think we do. No, that's okay. We can keep chatting. We can keep chatting here. Let me take this down. So one of the articles I want to talk about, I can just touch on it just a little bit. Speaking of the future and technology and everything like that, it's talking about JPS being ready for the EV demand and setting up different charging stations. And I already see a lot of these happening in Jamaica. Is these electric car charging stations? There are a couple in Negril. There's a bunch in Kingston. I'm waiting for actually. I've been told that a few people have Teslas in Jamaica, which is so interesting to me. That's so cool. But it's definitely becoming one of those things that like Jamaicans really want these electric cars and these electric vehicles. And I think it is a matter of getting getting the network of charging stations throughout the island. I think that's like you need I remember Elon Musk talking about this is like you need that type of infrastructure in order for it to become like the norm, like where I think the US has like some mandate or goal of having a certain percentage of all cars being made in the United States being electric vehicles by 2030. Um, of course, with Jamaica, you think electric vehicles, we also have to think the per kilowatt hour charge that we're being charged for electricity. So I don't know how that equates or what that means in real dollar terms, that opposed to filling up your tank of gas. I don't know if anybody has done the math on that, but that would be very interesting to learn about if it's more cost effective to use an electric car or a gas vehicle here in Jamaica, given gas prices, giving electricity cost. Just be interesting to like kind of understand what that math looks like. But of course, the environmental, oh, I guess there's arguments on both sides whether it's ultimately helping or hurting the environment. But I think at the end of the day, it's a net positive, right? Having electric vehicles over gas guzzling vehicles. And, if there is a way that we can somehow get gas prices down, because gas prices also dictate electricity costs here in Jamaica. So I think no matter what, at the end of the day, it's figuring out how we can get gas prices down, or become more efficient at converting gas into electricity. And I know they've been trying numerous different ways, how to do that. So yeah, that's what this article is talking about, and I do want to kind of hop into it at some point. But there are already this network is already being built out, and there are already these charging stations all over the country. The other article, which I'll touch on real quick, I'll put these in the comments. So that's the demand for EV in the comments that I just put there. And this next one I'm going to talk about quickly. And then this one is talking about the Expo Jamaica 2023 in the Prime Minister's speech. And the headline reads, "We will export and become a rich nation," Andrew Holness. So he's basically talking about how Jamaica will become a rich nation through exporting, which is, I mean, that's how most of the wealthiest countries became wealthy, is through export something, whether it's like some sort of goods or oil, fish, whatever it is. That's how most of the leading nations became wealthy. But unfortunately, we don't export a lot here, at least as much as we used to back in the day in Jamaica. And hopefully there are plans to change that. I know one of the hindering aspects of that is the high electricity cost. And as you can imagine, from a manufacturing perspective, how that could hinder/inflate the cost of producing goods, and then also exporting said goods. So it's kind of interesting not interesting, but I guess interesting that he said that, and it open up the state, his his speech with that, and the expo with that, which I think is very important to recognize and know that he's thinking along those lines as a prime minister and as a leader of the country. All right, let's hop over to the comments real quick. Marlon says, "What happened to all the Negro Beach seaweed in the picture from last week's podcast?" The seaweed is, I guess, got buried, but it was there. It's not there anymore. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure the context of your question. Of course, says also, why don't we make the roads with solar tech? Good idea. I'm sure price and cost has something to do with that, but I think that's a great idea. Donna Bryce says, I have a friend who owns a garage here in Ottawa. Tesla spends a lot of time in the shop. Highly overrated vehicle at this time. Interesting. Yeah, we don't have any, as far as I know, we don't have Tesla garages in Jamaica. I am what I am says, U.S. big rig truckers park in front of charging stations to block electric car access. I can only imagine how Jamaican taxi drivers respond to more charging stations in Jamaica. Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Donna Bryce says Canada has time of usage rates for electricity, looking into low overnight rates to accommodate charging of electric vehicles. Interesting. It seems like it's coming, but we of course want to learn from other nations, from their mistakes, and also best practices. All right, so we have our guest who is backstage right now, and we have Mr. Kamal Manboard, who is an architectural designer, 3D generalist, and animato. And he's a self-taught artist with a passion for art and design, with his formal education being in architecture. His creative works, experience, and knowledge span a wide genre, encompassing design fields such as photography, illustrations, animation, 3D modeling, motion, and graphic design. And I think this is the perfect person to bring on to the live stream here to as we talk about AI and VR and the future and how it relates to how it's going to affect Jamaica, I should say, more than anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Kamal on.
Okay, so I'm live.
You are live.
All right. Hi, how are you doing?
Good, good, good. Give me 1 sec. I just need to change my speakers here. Yeah, I think we're good to go. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for taking the time out to hang with us on this Sunday afternoon. Much appreciated.
Yes.
So to start with, I just want to do like a quick background on you, just so we can so everybody can familiarize ourselves with you. So I guess to start with,
Yes.
can you tell us where you're from, where you grew up, and where you're living now?
Okay, so hi everyone, Kamal Manboard. Um, I grew up was born and raised in Negril, Westmoreland. So grew up at the beach, more, in nature. I didn't grow up watching a lot of TV. I grew up, you know, building tree houses in the backyard. At a very big backyard with um, guava trees, banana trees, had a river close by. So I grew up in nature.
Mhm.
And then, things took a turn after I moved to Kingston to study architecture. I decided to study architecture instead because I grew up designing and not only just, drawing. I used to design everything. So, from houses to cars to props, so forth. And I decided to do architecture because it was more design, combining engineering and art. So I saw it as the perfect mix that would fit, what I grew up, you know, doing. And so when I came to Kingston and started architecture school, I got introduced to all the different 3D programs, you know, and I went ahead to teach myself a lot of these programs, even though a lot of the programs weren't being taught until the second and third year. I was in first year, so I decided to, go inside a computer room and just, I became obsessed with these software. So, by the time they started teaching the softwares in second and third year, I was already, adept at them. So I became obsessed with, the whole world of technology after I was in architecture school, and I moved on to teaching myself animation to the point where I applied for an intern at a studio in South Korea in 2000 and 17, and I got accepted as an intern. I was doing concept design and 3D modeling. You
Awesome.
know, and so it's something that I was always really obsessed with. And I'm still in Jamaica, so I always look at how things could be applied. I've been to 7 other different countries, and I always, when I see something, I don't first think, hey, I want to move to this country because it's great. The first thing I think about is how I can take all these things from these different countries that I see and implement it in Jamaica. So I'm a big advocate of that whole idea to see how things can impact Jamaica and the Caribbean on a whole. So yes, that's
Interesting.
answers.
Yeah, and we'll get into your actual skill set and what you do for a living shortly.
Yeah,
But it's interesting because now you hear a lot about young people that like yourselves who have obviously you can probably like just from your Instagram alone, you're a very skilled person at what you do, and you can obviously probably get a job anywhere in the world, but you choose and like you said, your mindset is like you've lived in 7 different countries and you see things there and you're like, how can I bring this back home? And your mindset is that how can we build Jamaica? So like I would ask you like where does that come from and like why are you choosing to do that, almost going against some at least the headline norms of like getting your skills and moving abroad. Where does that come from?
yeah. Um, I think it's how I was raised. Like I think I'm a Jamaican to the core. As I said, I grew up in the country, and it's just a beautiful place. I love, you know, remembering about my childhood and the nostalgia and going to the different places. And, so, I fell in love with my country because most of what I was seeing growing up was the more beautiful side of Jamaica. I didn't really start seeing those other sides that are, not so palatable until I was like about 18, 19. So what I grew up seeing, and having is a love for the country and its natural beauty. And so even my architectural philosophy is a more biophilic thing where I love to see, plants. You can see some plants behind me. Some of them is dying. I feel so bad. But, I love plants. I love infusing architecture in nature. I love addressing climatic condition and how you can manipulate light, wind, rain, sounds and smells to create architecture. So that's what I love, and that architecture has to do with this tropical climate and the culture and everything and how all of that fuse together.
Oh, that's beautiful. I hear the passion in your voice and can see it in your work. And this community is really like very very pro Jamaica. This whole channel is super pro Jamaica, and the idea and the mentality that I believe I can speak for all of us is that we us can build Jamaica and we have the means to do it, right? And it's just a matter of coming together and using our individual skill sets to do so. And so it's just beautiful and wonderful to hear this and hear this passion from somebody of your caliber and just kind of be also on the forefront of technology. I think that's awesome, and I think people appreciate that. So uh, with that, can you go into actually what you do for a living, and then we can take it from there.
Okay, so my main focus on my day-to-day job, I work for an architectural practice, virtuoso architect, and I mainly focus on the architectural visualization side of things. So, 3D modeling, adding people, adding plants, adding stuff to make, to create visualization to basically use for marketing and as a part of our design tool. When you can get a feeling of what the building will be like before it's built in its entirety, you can make more informed decisions. So from the onset of the design process, I like to take the building, start adding people, cars, plants, lights, so forth, textures, and that is a part of the design process rather than just to market to client. And that's where I got interested in doing VR, because VR, what it does, it takes you closer to the finished product. From a designer's perspective, you're experiencing the building as if you're actually inside of the building, and you can make more informed decision, because I think architecture is all about, how it reacts to the human proportion and our experience. A door height is a certain height based on the human proportions and countertops and so forth. Architecture is basically designed around, an average, person, or different heights of people, and how I can get this to work for accessible for everybody, even people who are blind, even people who are less able. You design building to accommodate, a wide set of people. So with the new technologies that are coming out, it better helps you to do a more human-centric design. It gives you that extra, boost with to add to the current tool set that we have.
And can you just explain VR, what VR is to everybody?
Okay, so with VR, this is my VR headset. Later on, I'm going to do a demonstration. If you can allow me to share screen, and I'll
Absolutely.
show you what it's like. So with the VR headset, it has some screens inside, some tiny screens with lens, and you're able to be immersed into a space. So when I turn on the headset, even the interface that you see, it's like inside of a room. And with this new headset, you're able to walk around. I can stand up and walk, and I feel like I'm grounded in the space. I don't feel like I'm just walking with a screen in front of my face. I'm able to look around and have freedom of movement, and it actually recognizes my ground plane. So I'm on the upper floor, and yet the VR headset is able to recognize what my ground plane is. So I feel like I'm within the spaces. And people mostly use it for video games, like the average user, but on the prosumer level, it's mainly used in architecture and engineering.
Amazing, amazing. That's very very cool. I have very limited experience with VR,
Yeah.
so I'm definitely excited about this demonstration. And going back to uh, the architectural modeling that you do, is it
Yeah.
only for are you doing commercial and residential?
Commercial and residential. My firm, they mainly do multifamily developments and commercial buildings. So they rarely do single family residence. Yeah,
Okay,
we do
okay,
some middle income, some affordable income housing designs. We tend to enter into like those competitions when they come about to do affordable housing and so forth.
okay. Because many people in this forum and in this group are looking to build their retirement homes, looking to build their dream homes. And I think this is a huge advantage for them to literally see and be immersed in the future of their home through this technology. I think that's pretty awesome.
Okay.
And you
Can
design.
I share screen?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do that. Let's hop right into that. Let's not waste any time. 1 second. Hold on. I don't know if I can. You can share the screen. Um, let's see. Hmm. I don't think I can on this, unfortunately. Hold on, let's see.
Um,
I
check
don't think I
this.
can. Is there any way that you can? I guess you couldn't, right? Make it, put it on your camera.
I'm looking from my side to see if there's a. All right, what I'll do in the meanwhile is turn on this computer. Timing.
So while you do that,
Just give
I
me a
will.
sec.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I'm just gonna read some of the comments that we have here, just a few. Jay Fitz says, "Wow, very interesting to hear how he is using VR. Does he do duplexes, triplexes, and quads?" Fitz says, "I'm
Yes.
okay." Yeah, he says he's a real estate developer, investor, excuse me, in Atlanta, and would love to do some projects in Jamaica. Chad says OBS camera. I don't know if that means
Let
anything.
me just bring this up. So
Wait, can you? All right. Yeah, Candice is saying maybe you can request it on your end.
yes, I'm looking for requests. Oh, present. Oh, present share screen was right there.
Okay,
I
cool.
was searching all over and share screen.
Thank you,
Okay,
Candice.
share window. All right, I can share individual windows like.
Oh,
Are
yep,
you
I see.
seeing
Yep.
my
You want me
screen?
to add it? Hold on one sec. There we go.
Okay.
If you want me to take us away, let me know.
So this is a design that I work on. So basically, this building is a bit brutalist. It tend to be very massive. Let me find something a bit more quaint. Maybe one of these interiors, a bit more quaint, Afrocentric.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing my screen,
Yep. Sorry. There we go.
yeah, this is a visualization of an interior um, that I did.
Oh,
So this is
beautiful.
what I mainly do on a day-to-day basis. I create these renderings, these images of interiors and exteriors of the building design,
Oh,
and I
very
might
nice.
change the look of it in terms of the colors and textures and so forth. So that's a part of the process.
And how long does it? Just my personal interest. How long does it take you to build out something like this?
It can take from a day to a month, depends on the size of the project. If it's a very small project, like it's a a one bedroom house or a two bedroom house, it might take a day or two to do something like that if
Gotcha.
the design is finished. But these processes are usually, over a period of a few months because the design is not finished when I start doing these 3D. Is a part of the process. So might go in and change this canopy like six different times.
Ah, I see. I see.
Yeah.
And are these projects that are in execution stage?
Yes, this spyglass is in development. It's located at Tavistock. You can probably see this thing from space. I know you can see it on
Really?
Google Maps.
Wow.
It's Tavistock in Kingston up on the hills. So you can see it from most places in Kingston.
And can you tell us a little bit about these developments?
These developments are done by private entities. Um, this is the same developer that did 20 South. 20 South was one of those buildings that kind of pierced through the skyline um, about 5 or 6 years ago, where Jamaica started building a little bit higher, especially in the halfway through to New Kingston area. You started seeing a lot much taller buildings going up.
Okay, pretty cool. Looks beautiful, man. Looks really, really nice. And do you know how like how many units it is? How many? It looks humongous.
How many? What?
How many units that is? Like how many? Like
I don't remember. It's three apartment buildings with about maybe like 16 to 20 unit each, and
okay.
then the smaller ones are townhouses. So they're duplexes that
Oh wow.
one side is over here, the other side is over there, but it's 3 stories around the back with individual swimming pools for each townhouse. And there's quite a few of those blocks. So each block would have two, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. So that's like 22 different townhouse units.
Mhm.
So it's probably looking like maybe it's like about 60 units.
Gotcha. No, it looks beautiful. And where is it located again?
This is in Tavistock Terrace. That's in Jacks Hills.
Okay.
So it's on the hillside um, of Kingston.
Awesome.
We try to do a lot of landscaping and blend, the architecture, in nature a bit, like using some um, ivy walls and stuff like that, and even the colors that we choose for the buildings, we want it to have a more natural, look.
Sure. Very cool. Did you want to do a virtual walkthrough?
Uh, yeah, what I wanted to show actually was AI technology and how like there's this big craze right now about AI and how that is impacting the world. So there's a lot of discussion around that. So it's one of the things I wanted to discuss, because you have one side that seem to have a more fear type approach, and another side that welcome AI technology. So I want to talk about what that means for everybody. Like, for instance, you
Sorry,
find
before
designers.
sorry, Kamal, before you go on, can you just explain like from the basic level what AI is, what artificial
Yeah,
intelligence is,
is
and then
yeah.
and
All
take it
right.
from there.
So, for instance, there are a few aspects to AI technology that is emerging. Artificial intelligence. You have chatbots such as ChatGPT that you can ask anything, and it basically gives you a more concise answer than if you would have to search for your own answers on Google. So it tends to give you a more concise, accurate response, and it can help you like even write like essays, write pieces, and so forth. It can help you even write a book. You can tell it the premise of the book you want, and it if you give a good description, it's basically really good at filling in a lot of the blanks. It's good at writing poems and so forth. So like if you want to even do a letter, and you can tell it what the letter is about, and it basically will make it feel like it's written by a human in terms of having a letterhead and so forth. So a lot of people are finding it useful when it comes on to that. And then the other explosion of AI is in AI image generation, like using text to describe an image you want. You want a dog wearing a red hat, and the AI is able to generate a dog wearing a red hat. You say, hey, I want it to be a pit bull. Changes the dog to a pit bull wearing a red hat. So this AI image generation, like people are using it to create art. You can tell it a painting style. I want a painting that looks like Picasso, and it generates a painting that looks like Picasso. So there's a lot of controversy behind the ethics of what that means, and the idea that the AI is taking, Picasso work, looking at Picasso's work, and basically, mangling it, twisting it to form something new. And a lot of people, artists, most artists in the art community see that as art theft because, the companies that run these AI image generation, they weren't given the consent to use, these images, but they're saying that these images are in the public domain and they have the right to use it. So a lot of artists seen AI image generation as something that is encroaching on what they are doing, and will eventually take their jobs. So that's the main concern with both AI chatbots and image generation, that these AI software will come and take the jobs of professionals that you had to go to college and, spend a lot of money to learn these things, and now it can do it in a second. But I think most designers, what I've noticed, like architects, product designers versus artists, they tend to see this as a tool. Like I myself, I see these things as a design tool, something that if you're already a creative, if you're already a brilliant artist or designer, this thing is like an added superpower, super tool in your arsenal. So for instance, you're an architect and you want to look for some inspiration, you want to look at some tropical architecture and some different forms, you're able to generate your own ideas, your own references. For instance, before AI image generation, you would have to go on Pinterest and you type in what you want and you scroll, you scroll, and you search for something that's existing. And you use that reference. Oftentimes, people use those reference of other people designing their work, and they take it and they make it their own. That's what design is about. It's not reinventing the wheel, but taking different things and making it your own, something that you've seen before. And what the AI does a similar thing, but it's a computer software doing it. Takes something and it generates something new for it from it. So, for instance, if you want a tropical Jamaican building by the river, you could just go on software such as Midjourney and type that, and it gives you exactly that. So, I'm gonna do a demonstration of that, showing what that is like. Share screen, Discord, share. All right, so here I am showing Midjourney's interface, and
should we ask the community here to give you some words?
yeah, the community could give me some words like what they
Okay.
would want to see. I guess
So
architecture related.
all right. So give us some architecture related words for those of you out there in the chat there, and you can just put them in the chat, and then Kamal will. I don't know if you can see the chat, Kamal, but he'll put them in the prompts, and then we'll see what is generated as we go along. So if you would, whatever you got, let us know. Put it in the chat, and we'll go. So actually, why don't you do yours, and then as it comes in, then
Okay.
we'll
All right.
do one collectively. So. All right. So he typed as a prompt, tropical house in Jamaica by the river. And now it's generating the imagery, which will come up shortly. So we got a lot of work.
Sometimes it's a bit of a
Right.
way depending on how much persons are using the system.
So we just had a pre-discussion before you came on about, so I created some imagery using Midjourney, and that's what's created the thumbnail. And so everybody can see, like, this is the exact process that I used to create the images that you see as the thumbnail and that are also on my YouTube community page.
Okay, so it's in fast mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the whole idea of this is that I had sent Havrika some images of some AI generated stuff. I'm gonna bring that up on my screen so we
Okay.
can discuss that. So let me bring that up.
Xlaw is asking, what platform are you using?
Well, Midjourney, you can use it from your Discord server. You can just message the Midjourney bot as if you're talking to somebody, and it responds to you via sending you an image.
Thank you for that.
So it's very easy interface to understand. All right, so here I am going to share. All right, so this is an image that someone else generated with Midjourney. And you're able to tell it the type of mood, the type of light you want. And these are some images that I particularly love, in
Man, it's
terms of
beautiful.
how organic it is, and the biophilic nature of it, a lot of plants.
Yeah.
So if you want to design a building, very organic, you have this architect Zaha Hadid that I like. She tends to design a lot of organic architecture. And you just get an engineer, and I think some of these things could be built, or you could redesign it so that it's a little bit more practical.
Beautiful.
But so if you want to like I love this project where somebody is designing this bus stop, and at the same time it's a library, so quickly they can iterate in terms of what it looks like. So you can just tell it that you want different versions, and it will just generate different versions of this idea that you have.
So awesome.
So now you're able to pick one of these designs that you like. You might say, hey, I want this thing, but I want it a little bit shorter, or I want, three of them lined up instead of one big one. You can, as an architect, start to, use these as an inspiration for a more practical design. So that's where the true power of these image generation can assist you, as an architect, to kind of get outside of your head quickly and start looking at images.
This is pretty cool. This is awesome.
So I
And,
heard a little beep, and that means it's finished baking. So
okay.
let's check the oven.
All right.
All right. So here I am. So here you can see what it generated, and that took like maybe around 5 minutes, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
And can you
Yeah, and it
remind
gave
us
me,
of the prompts again that you inputted?
yeah. The prompt was a tropical house in Jamaica by the river. And the software is so intelligent that the type of architecture that it used is a Caribbean vernacular architecture.
Wow.
So I said a tropical house, it could be tropical modern, so now you want to start specify, I want a tropical modern house instead of, and start giving you something a bit more modern. But it decided to go ahead and give me something more Caribbean vernacular.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Should we try some of the prompts that was given by the
Okay.
community here? So we have a bunch. I don't know. I'll just name some, and you decide what you want to put in. There's
Okay.
island cabin, bamboo, skyscraper, bungalow, recessed lighting, solar panel, waterfall, open, veranda, sky house bungalow. So pick and choose. whichever you'd like. If you want me to repeat anything, let me know.
Made of bamboo. I like the by the river thing, so I'm gonna by the
All right,
river,
cool.
or maybe by the sea.
Okay, yeah.
The sea. All right.
All right, so it's
Yes,
generating
somebody
now.
was asking if that's Mid Journey. Kevin, yes, this is Mid Journey. Let me see if my VR is up because what I wanted to do was show how I could actually look at a design that I've generated from Mid Journey, and
Hmm.
then now I can start taking that into 3D on my VR device. Confirm. So that's it. It generated bamboo. These look like game art.
You said what kind of art?
Like this one, it looks like a game
Oh, okay,
art.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It does. It does. Yeah.
All right, let me start this software in VR. And I'm gonna wait till the software starts, then I'm gonna start sharing the screen of the VR. Is there any questions that people are
Yeah,
asking?
I got a couple. T asked, you still have to produce all the products for real life for the client. So how does that happen?
In terms of producing the actual buildings,
Yes, I
in
guess.
terms
Yeah,
of
I guess. Yeah,
construction,
right.
that's when it comes to using. All right, so for instance, this process would, for instance, if you're using this pipeline, you could conceptualize what you want with the AI software, and then you can take bits and pieces of it that would fit your brief. For instance, you're doing a 3 bedroom for a client, and they want something, made of bamboo per
Hmm.
se, and steel and bamboo. So you would design it in VR or on your computer in 3D, and then you would start adding details, like for instance, how the columns are going to be constructed, how it's going to be welded together, where it's going to be bamboo, where it's going to be steel. You would involve an engineer that would design the capacity in terms of what are the size of the members, how far apart they are in terms of its load bearing capacity. So you go in that detail. You would produce schematic drawings that you would have to get it passed, by the parish council, and the contractor and the QS would do the budget in terms of how much it would cost, source the materials, and get it constructed based on those detailed drawings. So the part that I'm talking about is just the first part of the process, as an architectural designer. How quickly can you use these tools to conceptualize something and create a quick model of it so that you can get all the stakeholders a part of the process and start discussing the design quickly. So that's what AI and VR does. It's a lot quicker, so that you can start the process of discussing and modifying and optimizing your design.
Right. So it's not necessarily the final product, but more for the visual inspiration for you, the architect,
Yeah.
the person who's actually going to do the work to actually create the real rendition, if you will.
Yeah.
Couple more questions here. Uh, Lessa says, what is the reason for the device you are looking through, as well as what are the health benefits pertaining to your eyes and this device?
Um, so far, there isn't much data in terms of the negative side effects that it might has on your eyes. Um, if you use a glasses, you're able. It comes with a holder where you're able to get prescribed lens and to your eyes, so that if you wear glasses, you can see clearer with it. I personally have been using VR for the past 6 years,
Hmm.
and I'm not aware that it has affected my eyes in any negative way. I don't wear glasses. I have very sharp vision. The last time I checked my eyes, so there isn't enough data as yet if there's any negative benefits. Some people get dizzy a bit easier than some, and that's based on if you're easily dizzy. You go on a roller coaster or something, or not. You find if you get dizzy easily normally, if you walk around in VR, you might get dizzy. But if you stand still and sit down, you won't feel so dizzy to it. But after a while, you'll adapt to walking around and moving around in VR.
Okay.
So
Uh,
your body kind of get accustomed to it. Like for instance, in VR, you're able to teleport. Like right here, I'm blocking out something, and I'm going to teleport right in the scene, and I can see how tall I've been making these buildings,
so
and I can
do you
teleport
actually
out.
create in this VR world?
Yes.
Oh
So
wow.
here,
Okay.
this thing is 36 meters or 5 meters, 6 meters tall. So I'm able to build and draw things, you know, at scale. I'm able to start add stuff, create, maybe add some trees here,
Wow.
add some seats. This building is really tall. So when I teleport in this space, it's like I can see the scale of what I'm
I
creating.
see.
And
Okay.
if I stand up, it feels as if, I'm actually there. I'm looking around. Looks like I'm looking through a window, like almost like a little binoculars. But, you know, and you can teleport around to travel. So I find myself sometimes trying to teleport in real life. I want to go over there. I'm trying to teleport. Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So quickly you're able to come in and modify, edit, and move. Move this thing around. So the speed at which it does, concepting, and then when I pull my hands in and out, I can scale it to say, usually when we're building scale models, we usually build scale models 1 in 50 or 1 in 100, and it snaps to 1 in 50. So that's a
Hmm.
decent size. You can see my hand here. So
Yeah.
that's the size we tend to build a model when we're in architecture school. We tend to build a model at a scale 1 in 100, and we can hold it in our hands and present. And I feel like I have this model in my hands right
Wow.
here, moving around. So it gives you a feeling as if you're working with a scale model, or it gives you a feeling as if you're actually, standing in the space.
And when you say scale model, this is like a printed 3D printed model, so to speak.
Well, we're used to building models by hand with chipboard and cardboard
Uh,
and
right.
stuff like
That's what I
that.
meant. Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's what I meant, though.
Yeah,
Yes. So like real physical model that you
yeah,
can touch. Yeah.
yep. So it has a feeling as if it's a physical model or it's an actual model, and this can go to the extent of where you can render it to look more realistic. So I'm going to do that in a second to show
Okay.
you how far you can take the whole VR thing. So let me go to stop.
Everybody's really
And let
impressed by
me.
this, myself included.
Okay, so this is opening. Let me escape. Let me share screen.
Somebody
Window.
asked if Midjourney is free.
No, it's not free. There is a trial period
Mm-hmm.
where you can use it. I'm trying to share this. Okay, all right. There's a trial period that you can use it and test it out and see how it works. And they also have, let me just share my entire screen. Okay, all right. Okay, so there's there's different tiers. You can pay like a yearly fee of $8 a month. They work out that to how much that is for the year, and you get a certain amount, like 200 different generation. They have like a top tier where you would pay something like $24 a month, and you get unlimited amount of generation. So it's something that's a part of your workflow, and you're making money from. That's not a lot to pay. You guys are seeing my screen at the moment.
Yep, we can see it.
What are you looking at?
It's load. It looks like you're loading Chrome right now.
All right. It's giving me a bit of trouble to share
Okay.
the finished thing while I'm. So let me just figure this
You're a
out.
gamer.
Not really.
Okay. I used to be heavy into it, but yeah. One day I'll come back. One day I'll make my comeback.
I actually am more interested in doing game development than playing game. I'm very
Interesting.
much interested in doing like VR games.
Very
All right.
cool.
So what are you guys seeing now?
All right, you are in
You guys
somebody's
are-
house.
Okay. So in this VR space, I'm able to walk around, and this is where you can take it to the finished level.
Wow.
So I'm standing up and I'm walking around, and I can look around. I can go over here to where they have the books. I can, it's so detailed, I can read what's on the books. So you can get a good idea of what a space will look like before it's finished built.
Wow, very cool. And you designed this?
Yes, I worked on this as a demo.
Incredible. Oh, we
Yeah,
lost you. Okay. You cleared it. Okay.
yeah, yeah. All right.
Very cool.
So I think that's it so far.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing us that and giving us that demonstration. I think that was a lot of people's first introduction into this kind of stuff. Um, we have a few questions that also comments. The one thing I want to kind of get into. I'll just ask this open question to you, and it's hard, right? Because we don't. The thing I mentioned earlier too is that we are in the very, very, very beginning stages of this, and it's just so impressive at
Mhm.
these infantile stages. Where do you see it, generally speaking? Where do you see it for Jamaica? How do you see it shaping
Yeah.
Jamaica's future?
All right. So the way I see this impacting Jamaica and having an effect, for instance, accessibility. we have access to all these tools. We're living in a globalized world, and there's so much things out there, YouTube and stuff that we can take advantage of. And I see a lot of YouTubers popping up that are really owning, the YouTube space. I have a little YouTube channel as well by myself, where me and my girlfriend, we go around different locations of Jamaica and paint some scenes. Like, for instance, here's a painting that I did of Alan Bamboo,
Awesome.
where we started the painting on location and then finish it in studio. So
What's your
there's
what's your YouTube
so
what's your
much.
YouTube channel? Just I want to put that in right away.
Kamal Art, same as my
Oh, same
Insta.
thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so these technology are available. Like this headset, it cost me $300 at the time. They're about $400 now. It was subsidized at the time by Facebook. So they're $400, relatively affordable, and you can have access to all that VR has to offer in a tool that just costs less than a phone. So that's where, and I just put it in my suitcase and brought it. I never had any problem at custom, because it's basically a device similar to a phone. It's like a gaming a media device, basically. So there wasn't any issue to basically travel with this. If it's your personal device and you're not reselling it,
Right.
you can carry it to you all over the world and stuff. So we have accessibility to all these tools out there, and we can see where we can take advantage of it. And even as I was demonstrating, design something that is in the Jamaican context. That the tool, the AI actually understood, when I said building in Jamaica, and it made it look Jamaican in terms of its design. So it's something that we can apply to our context and take full advantage of, so that we can be on par with what's happening elsewhere in the world. And this allows you to collaborate with different entities around the world a bit easier, because if you're using the same software that they're using, the same device that you're using, you can have a client in China, you can meet with a engineer in China, and you're inside VR, and he can hop right into VR in the same space that I was showing you. I can make a call in that software all the way to China, and we could be walking around the building and having a discussion,
Wow.
inside the
That's
VR world.
crazy.
So it bridges those gap. You know.
No, that's awesome. And or say what advice would you give, say, a young person, perhaps somebody who's just
Mhm.
finishing high school, or and maybe not would be going to college, in terms of
Yeah.
getting on board with what's happening here, and what kind of opportunities could they take advantage of, or at least put
Mhm.
themselves in a position to take advantage of with
Okay.
this technology?
All right. First thing is that a lot of young people nowadays, like younger people, like they get intimidated by all these things that are happening, because things are happening at such a quick pace. Like, I was talking to some young people getting into art, and they were like, "Should I give up doing art with all this AI thing, because like I'm nowhere near where you are?" And I
Hmm.
was trying to give them some comfort to saying, "Hey, it's all about the human element." And one of the things that is big on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram is process. People like to be a part of the process. They want to know who is doing this work, their process, what they're about, the reason why you're creating this thing, the human element. And AI does not have that. So if you're an artist, continue to hone your skill. If you're a designer, continue to hone your skill, learn all the principles that you need to learn, because at the end of the day, it is your human experience that you're going to use and set yourself apart. Even before AI, that's what different designers use to set themselves apart, from other designers, who you are as an individual and what you bring to the table. So I would tell all young people to keep practicing, keep honing your skill, finish that course, finish that degree, because at the end of the day is about, what you bring to the table.
Right. Great advice. Great advice. Some questions from the community. Forever ask, where does he see Midjourney going in 5 years?
I see Midjourney going in 5 years where you just take up your phone, tell it what you want, and it just generates an image. Talk to it like Siri, and you're able to say, "Hey, I don't like that particular window. Could you just change that window right here? Maybe just tap on it, and it changes thing. Maybe it gives you a series of options that you can choose from, and you're like, I like this one. I like number three, option three, and it just, I see where it's able to edit things a lot quicker. But as I said, is that creative direction where you understand shape language, you understand that, hey, this window from ceiling to floor would look better, having 20 louvers instead of just four, would look better in terms of its detail, so forth. This roof would look better taller or shorter. This, it's that creative direction that you have, as a designer, where you can understand context, understand narrative, understand what a client, is looking for, that you're able to art direct these software a bit more, understand your understanding of color and texture, able to manipulate these software to the greatest advantage.
And on the other side of the coin, what kind of threats or cons do you see with this technology? AI in general, you could answer
The,
specifically to
the,
Midjourney if you'd want, but generally speaking.
the cons are people who are not up at that level, like people who are just getting started or might not be at a certain skill level. Like I see AI basically replacing a lot of people job, like a concept artist. Like, while I would hire a concept artist, like I'm doing a video game and I'm a programmer, I don't need to hire a concept artist anymore. Because if I can do the programming, I can make AI generate the concepts for me, generate the textures and so forth. So, as a concept artist, you have to basically see how maybe you can, up your skill level to no longer be a concept artist. Like back in the day, people used to stock bowling pins, and when the automated bowling pins came out, they were demonstrating to say, hey, our job, we lost our job, but who wants to spend their life stacking bowling pins? Who wants to do
Yep.
that? In the future, who wants to be a concept artist? Nobody will want to be a concept artist. So this person who's starting school now, new person starting school, rather than doing a course in concept art, they'll be doing a course in programming.
There you go.
You know, they'll be doing a course in art direction and so forth. And so the older people, they will have to add up a bit, like I follow this guy, Aaron Blaze, like it was a while before he adapted to using the computer drawing, because he was at Disney doing Lion King by hand on a piece of paper. But when he finally adapted to using the stylus to draw on the computer, he like blew everybody away who started at the stylus, because he had that foundation skill.
There you
He's
go.
like one of the biggest, artist animator on YouTube now, doing his same 2D animation but drawing on a computer screen, and he's like the best. So that's how it works. You have to kind of change and move with time. So that's why, we're doing this to show Jamaicans, that you have to change with the time and be on par with what the current, improvement in technology is.
Awesome. Well said. Well said. Well said. A couple of design questions left. Cheryl B says, do you work with individual contractors who are building homes?
Yes, I tend to do a little freelance jobs where if somebody wants to visualize their home, I'll take jobs like that, and I do stuff for other like proven, that's a company that sells buildings, a realtor. So, and I do jobs for developers and contractors. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, one last question. I know we're at the top of the hour. Just want to be respectful of your time. And this one is Mark McCarthy. He says, very, very, very impressive. Please leave your info with us. I can really use you to expand on my visuals with my projects. Is on to ask, what do you charge per hour, sir?
We would have to discuss that
Yeah,
after. I don't have an hourly rate because you can always say something takes you 2 days when it only take you one. So
right.
I charge a price based on like square footage and the general time something takes to do, and pin that time down and the cost down, so that everybody is happy before we move on with the project.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, I really, really appreciate your time, Kamal, and coming out on a Sunday afternoon. Most appreciated. If everybody could do me a huge favor and go follow Kamal on his YouTube channel. I got the link there, and it's the same thing on Instagram. He has some pretty awesome stuff there. So if you can follow him on Instagram as well, it's KAMAALART, and we can give him support and keep up with him, keep up with what he's doing and where he's going with all of this. I mean, you can see and hear how advanced, like, this guy is in the game, he's in the trenches, really, really super advanced, on the forefront of all this is happening, that is going to change all of our lives. And it's going to affect us in everything that we do, whether we believe it or can see it today. And this is something that we all want to keep up with. And he has the page, the YouTube channel, to do so, so you can see what's happening and be on the forefront of all of this. So thank you so
Okay.
much again, Kamal. We really learned a lot here today. I appreciate your time to the max.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care and
All
enjoy
right.
the rest of your Sunday,
Thank you
man.
as well.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. Enjoy your day too, and everybody in the chat, enjoy your day. Have a great day.
Thank you, man. Take care. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Please subscribe to his channel and also his Instagram. Like I said, you can see a lot of his work there as well. That was pretty awesome. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I learned a lot there, about just this technology. And like I said, it's already and sometimes you think, like, like this stuff is going to affect Jamaica, the world, but you obviously, you wonder and think, like, okay, how is this going to affect the world of architecture and design? And he just broke it down, like, to the nitty gritty, and showed us and gave us examples how, which is like insane, right? It's like super, super insane where this technology is and where it's going. Some people say it's scary, but I think there is an element to it being scary, but it's also important that we continuously know and understand where this thing is going and what it's doing. Because, like I said, I had no idea it was affecting the architecture and design industry, and now I know. And it just, to me, it's just like, all right, let's think how it's going to affect other industries and other things. So like, now I want to have more conversations with other people in different industries who are using it. As we heard earlier, Joe, she's using it herself on ChatGPT. That's one thing that I wanted to kind of do and use as an example, but it's not going to be as cool as Kamal's presentation with Midjourney, like creating those images. I wanted to show, well, we can do it. We can do it, but I will do it so I can show you the power of this technology. Let's see here. Let me know if any questions are there. All right, what we'll do is, let me show you. I will show some, sorry, or somebody's asking for his IG link. All right, there. I get, so that's Kamal's link right there. You can see it on the screen. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to show you some of the images that, can we see it? Oh yeah, so these are the images that, so this is on the community page, like the same exact process that Kamal used through Midjourney. So it's on this program server called Discord, and literally just put in, just like you saw the prompts that he put in. That's what I did, and so that's one. These are the two images that are the thumbnail for this live stream that you were on right now. Sorry, what am I doing here? Nope. There we go. For the live stream that we're on, and then this is I think this is the first one that I created. just like coconut beach, Jamaica sunset, or something like that. I don't remember what the prompts were, but beautiful, beautiful art and imagery. I don't remember the prompt on this, but this was couple sunset Jamaica, and this is what it came up with. And didn't really even get into like the nitty gritty details of what he was talking about in terms of the style and lighting and all that. And this was one that I created later. This is supposed to be a black Jamaican Jedi, but I don't know where her lightsaber is. But I thought it was still a cool image. I thought it was a really, really cool image. But yeah, this is just kind of some insight into some of the technology that's out there. Let's show ChatGPT real quick. Again, it's not going to be as interesting as Kamal. Let's see here. All right. All right. So we're going to do a new chat here. Hold on. I'm not even sharing my screen. Sorry. Chad says that's my daughter. Yeah, I created my my digital daughter. That's who that is. All right. Okay, there we go. That's my daughter there. And all right, so we're gonna do the ChatGPT. All right. So here we are. This is ChatGPT. This is the interface. And this is how it starts here. And let's do something live. Give me something, a piece of anybody, a piece of like content that we want to create. Anything like somebody mentioned a book, but give me a subject that we want to create. It could be a caption, it could be a poem, it could be a story. Let's see what we can come up with collectively, and we'll see how good this thing is. Let me know. Shoot it to me, and we can get it going, just so I can show everybody exactly how this thing works. And yeah, please hit the like button. Okay. Tatum Media says living in Jamaica. All right. Negril Sunset. All right. So baking using a stone oven. Okay. That's good. Miss Lou baking using a stone oven. All right. Okay. We'll do create a cookbook based on baking using a stone oven. What else do we want to include? All right, let's just see what we come up with. That this is not so much detail. I probably want a lot more detail than this, but let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's giving us recipes. All right, so if you can't see it, so it says, sure, I'd be happy to create a cookbook based on baking using a stone oven. Here are a few recipes to get you started. And the first one is a sourdough. sourdough bread, and the ingredients are 500 grams of strong white bread flour, 10 grams of salt, 350 grams of water, 150 grams of sourdough starter. Instructions: mix the flour and salt together in a large bowl. And I won't go through it, but it just tells you steps 1 through 9 and breaks it all down. So that's how it started. To use a 50 milliliter lens. Okay, let's. All right, so I'm gonna do one here. I'm just this one I'm creating in my head. Okay, write me a book, uh, a short story on the benefits of moving to Jamaica, what the pros and cons are, and very like usually when I write prompts, like it's like paragraph. So let's just see what this does. We literally 2 sentences, see what it comes up with. Okay, it's literally writing a story. It says, once upon a time, there was a woman named Emily who lived in a bustling city in the United States. Emily was feeling burnt out from her job and the fast paced lifestyle of the city. One day, while on vacation, Emily stumbled upon Jamaica and fell in love with its vibrant culture, lush landscapes, and laid back lifestyle. She began to seriously consider moving to Jamaica permanently. As Emily researched the pros and cons of moving to Jamaica, she discovered several benefits. For one, the cost of living was much lower in Jamaica, which meant she could live. Which meant she could. Lost my place. Sorry. As Emily researched pros and cons of Jamaica, which meant she could live a more comfortable lifestyle without breaking the bank. Additionally, the warm climate and access to fresh tropical fruits and vegetables were appealing to Emily's health conscious lifestyle. Emily also found that the people of Jamaica were friendly and welcoming, which made her feel at home. She loved the music, the food, and the slower pace of life in Jamaica. Emily imagined spending her days exploring the island's natural beauty, swimming in crystal clear waters, and trying new foods. However, Emily also recognized that there were some drawbacks in living in Jamaica. While the slower paced life was appealing, it could also mean that things took longer to get done. The infrastructure in Jamaica was also not as developed as what she was used to in the US, which could make things like transportation and communication more challenging. Finally, Emily recognized that she would be far from her family and friends if she moved to Jamaica, which could be difficult at times. Despite these challenges, Emily ultimately decided to make the move to Jamaica. She felt that the benefits of living in such a beautiful, vibrant country far outweighed any potential challenges. Emily packed up her things and headed to Jamaica, ready to start a new chapter in her life. As Emily settled into her new home, she realized that she had made the right choice. She met new friends, explored new places, and found a sense of peace and contentment that she had never experienced before. Emily was grateful for the opportunity to live in such a beautiful country and looked forward to all the adventures that awaited her in Jamaica. That took 2 seconds. That took 2 seconds. Okay, we got some more prompts here. All right, let's see. Okay, Joe says, how about write a concise letter to the Negro Chamber of Commerce to develop a movie theater? Letter must justify the community needs. Okay, let's do that. All right. Write a how you spell concise? S-E, nope. Concise letter to the Negril Chamber of Commerce to develop movie theater. Develop movie theater. The letter must justify the community need. All right, let's see what we come up with. Go. It's generating it. All right. It says, Dear Negril Chamber of Commerce, I'm writing to you to express the need for a movie theater in our community. As a resident of Negril, I have noticed that there are currently no movie theaters in the area, which has led to a lack of entertainment options for families and individuals alike. The addition of a movie theater would not only provide a new form of entertainment for residents, but would also contribute to the local economy by creating job opportunities and attracting more visitors to the area. Furthermore, a movie theater would serve as a venue for community events such as film festivals and charity screenings. It would also provide a safe and comfortable space for families to spend time together, especially during inclement weather. I urge the Negro Chamber of Commerce to consider developing a movie theater in the community would not only provide entertainment but also serve as a valuable asset to the local economy and community. Thank you for your consideration. So, what is also thank you for that, Joe. I thought that great idea, great prompt. But what also is impressive about this is the iterative process, right? So, let's say, how do we want to adjust this? So, let's say, let's make it stronger. Make it stronger, more forceful letter. I just put, can you make it a more stronger, more forceful letter? Let's see what it comes up with. And it's doing that. This is so funny. I'm just going to let it finish generating it. Okay. All right. This is the iterative process. Dear Negro, this is a more stronger, more forceful letter. Dear Negro Chamber of Commerce, I'm writing to express my deep concern regarding the lack of entertainment options in our community. As a resident of Negril, I am disappointed to note that there are no movie theaters in the area, which is unacceptable in this day and age. It is unacceptable that our community has been left behind in terms of entertainment options, particularly given the significant tourism industry in Negril. Our community deserves access to modern and enjoyable entertainment options, and a movie theater would be a step in the right direction. Not only would a movie theater provide a much needed entertainment option for our community, but it would also create job opportunities and drive local economy. Additionally, a movie theater would serve as a venue for community events such as film festivals and charity screenings, which are currently non-existent in Negril. I implore the Negril Chamber of Commerce to take action and develop a movie theater in our community. It is time for our community to catch up with the modern era and provide residents and visitors alike with a much needed source of entertainment and cultural enrichment. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, the Thrive community. So, yeah, and you just kind of just continue to, if you can imagine, to iterate and iterate or iterate. Imagine writing a book. Imagine I used it to help me come up with different ideas for titles, captions for Instagram. I'm trying to think of other ways. Giving me ideas, even ideas for to do videos, whatever have you. It just helps you putting it together in email. Just use your imagination here. Great prompt, Joe. Great prompt. And these are the type of things that we can put together. You can put together to really help you go down the path quickly of getting to whatever your goal is. And again, like I said, like I use this thing like every single day. Every single day I use chat GPT or some form of AI. Let's get to the comments real quick. Oh, we got more prompts here. I'm seeing them. Sorry I missed these. um Yeah, you can do. I don't know anything about coding. I would show you. I'm not a coder. I don't know. I would put. I'm sorry. I'm just reading T's comment here. I don't know anything about coding, so I don't even know what prompt to write. So that's a thing too, right? It's like I'm not in that industry, right? I don't know anything about coding, but even if you have, a little bit about coding, you can ask this thing certain questions to give you the code. Like I've seen my brother do it, and I don't know, it just boggles my mind. Um, what else do we got? Okay, it says they don't have movie theaters in Jamaica, and why don't they build malls instead of plazas? They would look better. No, they have movie theaters here. So our movie theater is the closest movie theater to Negril is in Montego Bay. Actually, me and my brothers went to watch a movie last night. So we drove all the way to Montego Bay and then drove back. So we're looking at about hour and a half drive each way to go watch a movie. But that's just what we're used to. So maybe I'll save this letter, Joe, and we can use it to try and get a movie theater for Negril, which I think is very much needed. I feel like, maybe we don't have what would I say, the population. I don't know anything about the movie theater industry or the model, or the business model of a movie theater. But, maybe we get a movie theater to start with, but we only do 2 nights a week or something like that. Because I know we don't have the population numbers to have the movie theater open every night. But maybe it's a movie theater and we have 2 days a week, or maybe we start out 1 day a week. And like thing says, we can do film festivals as well, and maybe we show independent films on some nights instead of these Hollywood movies. Maybe other nights we show like movies that have already came out, old movies. I'm sure that's much cheaper to screen than these brand new movies that came out. I don't know, just different ideas. I thought that was a great idea. Great prompt, Joe. I thought that was a really, really awesome prompt. Thank you for that. T says there's a movie theater in Ochi. Yeah, good for them. We need one in Negril. Definitely need one in Negril. Shackstar says it's basically a parrot using the world data stored in a database. It will speed up workflow. Scammers will benefit most from this technology at this stage. I'm sure people are using it for, excuse me, not so nice things. Joe says movie theaters build community. I never thought of that. I never thought of it like that, but I could see that. I could definitely see that, and it also gives you like a collective interest, right? That's a great idea, man. Maybe this is something that we should push for, Joe. I don't know. You got me thinking. I was thinking more from a business model perspective in terms of whether it makes sense for Negril, but you're right. It definitely does build community. Great idea. Great thought process. Great way to think of it, Joe. Marlon says, love the Negril Chamber of Commerce letter. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And like, look how long would that take you for you to do it, right? Even if you're a good writer and you know exactly what you want to say, it's going to take you at least 20, 25 minutes to put this letter together, right? Did it in 2 seconds. Cheryl B says, so many people have great ideas but don't know how to articulate their ideas or solutions to paper. This is an amazing tool. It is. I think so too. T says it's all fun now, but honestly, I think the negatives are more hard hitting than the benefits. Why even learn to write a book? It can write a book in a few minutes. No, but I think so. It's like what Kamal is saying, right? You still need that human input. You still need that human element. I don't know if you know Casey Neistat, but he is one of the biggest YouTubers that are out there. I get a lot of inspiration from him, and he did a video based on ChatGPT. And what he did was, I'll see if I can find it, and I'll put it in the comments here. But he did a video where it asked ChatGPT to make a Casey Neistat type video. And he went about creating this video, like the script and everything, fully based on ChatGPT. Hold on. Yeah, I got it right here. I'm going to share it with you guys. And the moral of his story and how he put the video together was just like, it just wasn't him. And you can use these tools, and this is the way I look at it as well. Like, you use these tools to help you achieve whatever ultimate goal that you have, but it's not a replacement at all. Like, there's nothing that can replace the human element. And like Kamal was saying, is it'll help you get inspiration to do, say, designs, but you still need the human element. You still need humans to be a big part of the process, but it just accelerates. And like, just like the Disney the Disney example that he gave with a guy who was used to sketching the Lion King with pen and paper. But when you put an iPad in front of him and a stylus, he was able to flourish and just like kill everybody, be even the people who started out with the stylus with a new technology. But because he had his foundation and the fundamentals in using the original writing tools, all the technology did was exacerbate the high level skill that he already attained for many years of his input. And so that's the way I look at these tools. Is it going to replace jobs? Absolutely, absolutely. But I think at least at this point, it's a help, and I like to look at it as like it's a help and advancement, more than it being like a negative situation. But we do got to be aware that this can turn into a negative situation, and not think that like it's everything's going to be continuously be rainbows and butterflies as it relates to AI. Forever says you still need the human element now. In 2030, it may not be the case. I mean, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to look the same. I also say it's just like, all right, are we going to stop this? Um, how if we are, and like, to me, it's like worst case scenario is probably Terminator or the Matrix. Probably the Matrix. That's the worst, right? But it's it's something to be aware of, that there are negatives to these things. But I think us in our own little worlds here, I think it's important that we just awareness is just so important, as opposed to be just one day it's just like I'm getting fired for what, or my job is no longer in existent because of blah blah blah. But it's just like being put in a position to hopefully adapt more than anything else. That's the way I look at it. And um I don't want to get left behind, nor do I think that any of you want to get left behind. So I think at this point, it's just important that we continue to stay on top of these technologies as they develop and advance at this incredibly rapid pace that they are. For Eva says, Throp, they're trying to make AI generalized and do everything by itself. If they pull it off, things will get scary. I mean, it's just, I forget the example that he gave. Oh yeah, he was getting the bowling pins, right? I think that was a good example that he kind of just brushed over. But yeah, like think with bowling, that was somebody's job at one time. After somebody bowled the pins over, to put every pin down back. But now we have that automated, and that person does another job. Um, Same thing with the washing machine. I'm sure there were people who were like of course we know washing by hands, but now we have washing machines, and that allows that if you have your own washing machine at home, you don't have to wash it yourself. That allows you to do other things and frees up your time. And same thing with horse and carriage, right? Well, that not necessarily, but it's same mentality, right? When the car came out, it was just like, what? What are we going to do with these horses? What about the people who make the carriages? That sort of thing. But like we continuously adapt, as technology does. And I also respect and appreciate that this is a technology like no other, and I think this is going to change our lives like no other, like to regions and areas that we probably can't even imagine right now. So I say all that to say is like I can appreciate your concern, but I also think that we will adapt. That's my belief. Shackstar says it will replace jobs. However, new jobs will be created through a paradigm shift and innovation. However, I'm worried that scammers will do more harm than good. So we need regulation. I mean, the thing with scammers is it's like there's always going to be scammers in every aspect of life. I mean, going back to the beginning of time, there were scammers before even all this technology. And it's just a matter of, can the authorities, powers that be, keep up and get ahead of said scammers, right? I mean, look at these deep fakes. Like those are crazy. Those are crazy how realistic that they are, where they can take somebody's image and turn it into a video that says things that are not real. So that's crazy. There are scams of like imitating, like even taking my voice and imitating it and say, you know, calling whoever and say, hey, this is Throp, can you do this for me, kind of thing. So again, it's just like, can we get ahead of these things as a formalized society to regulate it? But good point, Shackstar. Dosi Do says AI will not affect Jamaica as much as the first world countries for a while. That could be true, but I also think that it could be a huge example or opportunity of leveling the playing field and allowing us to, in certain aspects, catch up to these so-called first world countries. If we use it in the right way, it can really help advance us and maybe skip certain levels that they have gone through as a country that we no longer have to go through, right? So use it to our advantage, right? Justin D says, the AI demands rights as humans. If you watch Animatrix, that's how Matrix started. Interesting. Yeah. these are all possibilities, and it sounds super science fictiony, but as you can see by the example that we used, it's crazy, and it's crazy how good these things are. I am what I am says, I've been using AI chatbots since it came out 6 months ago. It uses a lot of compound sentences and linear five paragraph essays. Didn't notice that, but I'll interpret that as being true. Theodome Media says innovation will always have its pros and its cons. I agree. Cheryl B says also some grocery stores using more self-checkout. New jobs will be created. Future generations will evolve. Not everything will be run by AI. Lots of industry need human touch. Yep, agree. So many compound sentences. It'll get better. Like I said before, like this is very new stuff. This is very, very new stuff. Tatum Media says AI can benefit Jamaica with passive income. I can agree. He said lawyers are faulty by nature. I don't mind them going away. They'll be mean to the lawyers. Okay. I think, I mean, let me know if you guys have any more questions. I think we're going to kind of wrap up right there. I thought this was pretty good. Kamal did an excellent job, and I know I learned a lot from him, and also kind of seeing how deep it is in Jamaica and in the architectural and design field, I think is pretty awesome. So I guess we could wrap up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. This is obviously a little bit different in terms of our usual content with Jamaica, but this was very Jamaica specific. We have a young professional who has made VR AI part of his workflow, and this technology is being used in Jamaica at what I would say the highest level. Spyglass is a brand new development in Kingston, and it used the skill set of this young professional, and he's using the foremost technologies to help create things that are in the real world, starting out obviously in the concept of somebody's mind, and then bringing it to the virtual world and bringing it to the real world, which is awesome, and that just tells me and shows me where we're going as a country, and that we're using the best and brightest tools that are out there, and then we're using the best and brightest individuals that are out there. And it's also so awesome that Kamal, is bringing all of his worldly experience, his education, going to South Korea. He says he's lived in 7 different countries, and his mindset is like, okay, how can I bring this home? How can I bring this back to Jamaica? A son of the soil, a son of Westmoreland, a son of Negril. And it's just so inspirational to hear that his mindset is of that nature, and it's going against the grain of much of what we heard about young Jamaicans moving abroad and studying abroad and staying there and not coming back home. And here is a young man who's did complete opposite and has is very, very patriotic individual. Like, I feel it and hear the passion in his voice. And of course, we want to support him in any way that we can. And that's why I encourage everybody, if you can, follow him on Instagram, and I got it right there on the screen, and also follow him, give him a sub on YouTube. So his YouTube and his Instagram is the same. Just subscribe. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't cost you a thing. He gave us a lot of value today, and then also it's an opportunity for all of us to keep up with what he's doing and what's happening in the industry and how he's using these technologies. And I'm sure as the technology advances and as it compounds, he's going to continue to use the newest stuff that's out there, and I'm sure he'll be sharing it on his social media platforms as well. So I encourage you to definitely follow him and stay up to date with everything that's happening. All right, we're gonna close it off there. Joe says, "Great live. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday." Thank you very much. I wish you all the best for the rest of this Sunday as well, and hope everybody has a awesome week coming up. We got a busy week at Throp Media coming up. We got shooting a podcast. We got some releases. We got some shorts. We got some clips coming out this week. We are wheeling and dealing this week. I hope everybody enjoyed this Sunday live stream. Like I said, it was a little bit different, but I thought it was still very, very relevant to Jamaica. And I think AI and this technology is really going to become a regular part of our discussion. And look at us. We're a channel that is focused on moving to and investing in Jamaica. And here we are having a discussion on AI. And somebody said it earlier, I never thought that we'd be talking about AI at this topic and the Throp channel. But it just goes to show you how disruptive this technology is and how it's affecting all industries right across the board. And we weren't even talking about it in the context of YouTube, which I'm a YouTube channel initially, right? But this was cool. Kamal did a great job. I appreciate him coming on. I appreciate you all and hanging out with you on this Sunday. I love these things. Love doing this thing. Shout out to the Throp Media team for putting this together, getting Kamal on the chat today here on the live stream. And we'll do it again next Sunday, same time, same place, right here, live from the 7 Mile. And I will see you then. Everybody have a great, great week. This was a lot of fun. And I will leave you with a scene from the beach. And we'll close off. Leave it at that. Thank you, everybody. See you next Sunday. Have a great week. Peace.